Hello, everyone, and welcome to the I Didn't Know ClearPoint Could Do That webinar series and the Being an Administrator episode, also known as the Like a Boss webinar. So I'm Joseph, and I'm joined by my co-host, Catherine.
Hi, everyone.
So you'll have us both guiding you through ClearPoint here today. A few quick things before we get going. We are going to be recording this session, and we'll make that recording available to all of you within a week. And today's webinar is going to be a solid 25 minutes at least. We've got quite a bit of stuff to get through for you, but we'll be sure to leave time for any questions at the very end. And any questions that you have, you can send to support@clearpointstrategy.com. Again, that's support@clearpointstrategy.com, and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. And for those we don't get to on air, we'll follow up with you via email. So our last installment, we talked about ClearPoint 10, and it was really great. So if you missed that webinar, please go ahead and check that out. It's on our Vimeo channel. It's on our blog. You can also find it in our support center. You can just search webinar. Now, today we're focusing on the administrators out there and things you can do to manage your account in ClearPoint 10, like a boss. So as an administrator, I often like to say that you're very much like the queen on a chessboard. You can do anything that you'd like. You can move forward, backward. You can go side to side as well as diagonally. So obviously there are several things that you can take on in ClearPoint that separate you from a basic user. You have control of everything in your account and can do pretty much whatever you'd like. So you're uniquely able to add scorecards, manage periods and reporting frequencies, as well as control your users and their access to ClearPoint. So these types of things can impact everything in your account globally. And as you can see here, those are many of the things that we're going to cover today. And Catherine's also going to showcase some highlights from our admin options section of ClearPoint 10. As I mentioned earlier, if you have questions, you can send them to the email address you see here on the screen, support@clearpointstrategy.com, and then we'll get to answer as many as we can today at the end. So as I mentioned, we got a lot of stuff to get through today. So let's go ahead and jump right on in to ClearPoint. So per usual, we are in our Upward Airlines account flying the friendly skies. And when it comes to your reporting structure in ClearPoint, nothing's really more important than how you decide to set up your scorecards. You know, how granular will you get? And almost more importantly, how granular is necessary, right? So we have some clients who only have one corporate scorecard. And then we have other clients who have dozens of scorecards representing departments and even divisions within their organizations. So you need to decide what works best for your organization and probably more importantly, what you can reasonably manage. One of the great things about ClearPoint is that the flexibility it provides really allows you to get started small, with one corporate scorecard, and then you can easily add new scorecards and roll out ClearPoint in your organization as you roll out more parts of your strategic plan. So as you know, we've changed how you manage elements in ClearPoint, such as the objectives and measures. These elements are added from their own dropdowns in their top navigation. So for consistency, we've made the dropdown in the top navigation also the place where you manage your scorecards now. So I'll go ahead and click on Scorecards in the top navigation, and then click on Manage Scorecards. And here we can see a list of all the scorecards we have in our account. Now, to make it easier on all of you, adding a scorecard is going to work exactly like adding any other element. If I want to add a scorecard, I simply click on the plus sign. And then from here, I can give my scorecard a name. So I'll go ahead and call my scorecard the EMEA division, since our airline is going global and expanding to Europe and the Middle East and Africa. Now, my scorecard is still going to be underneath the overall corporate scorecard, so I can make the Upward Airlines corporate scorecard my parent here. And you'll notice how any scorecard in the system is here for me to make as a parent. So you're probably wondering what all the other fields are here, and that's a really good question. And these are all scorecard level custom fields that we've added to this account. So for you, you will see scorecard custom fields that you've created here, which will most likely be different from the ones that now you're seeing below. So when I hit save, then we'll go ahead and we'll see that scorecard appear. And you're also going to notice that teal box where it says Child of Upward Airlines Corporate. And this is going to help you track your and keep track of your hierarchical structure from this page. And also notice how we have our scorecards here in our control panel on the left, and we can see the top level corporate scorecard and then our divisions indented underneath. Now, if I decide that I want to change the order of these scorecards, I can sort them by choosing to sort the elements. So when I do that, I go up here and choose Sort Elements. And then I can choose whichever one I want to sort. I can grab it and then just really easily drag and drop it. Now, if something is highlighted, I can also hit the Shift key and use my arrows to move things up and down and change it that way. But go ahead and click Save. And now you can see that this order has been changed, and that order is going to be reflected in the scorecard tree in the control panel. So new in ClearPoint 10, you can actually bulk edit scorecards. Now say I'd like to change these division scorecards. They no longer are child scorecards to the Upward Airlines corporate scorecard. I simply just check on these scorecards that I would like to edit, or I can check all, then uncheck the one I'm not going to edit. I click on Edit Multiple. And here again, we'll see several default options like Parent and Locked, as well as some of the custom fields we've added to this account for scorecards. So Locked will be very helpful for those of you out there who are looking to lock down many scorecards at once for a little bit to not let people make any changes, as well as when you go to unlock them. I'll choose Parent though, since that's exactly what I came here to do. And when I check Parent, I'll tell ClearPoint that I actually don't want to define a parent. That way none of these scorecards have a parent scorecard. So then I'll go ahead and click Save. And now you'll see that the child notification there for each of those scorecards has been removed, and we are all set with that. So depending on what you're looking to do, this could be a really big time saver for you. Speaking of time savers, a lot of people are going to really love this. So like other elements, you have the ability, of course, to delete, duplicate, and edit your scorecards. So I'm sure that you saw those icons over here on the right, and you're thinking, well, big whoop, of course we can. But what you also might have noticed is one additional icon here for each scorecard. Now, what exactly could that be? Well, that is the copy forward icon at the scorecard level. So if I click that arrow icon for the Upward Airlines corporate scorecard, then I'm going to see all the options that are available to me. So you're probably all familiar with copy forward at the individual element level, which lets you pull forward the color status, analysis, and update fields from the previous period one element at a time, or even one field at a time. Well, this feature allows me to copy information forward, like the color status and analysis from one period to any other period in the future. So for example, let's say I want to update all my initiatives and milestones from February 16 and carry that all the way forward to April 16. Then I would do that like so. I'll leave my source period here as February 16 and change my destination period to April. Okay, so now under elements to copy, I would choose which elements I want to be affected. And now I only want to do my updates for my initiatives and milestones, so I'll go ahead and uncheck all the other elements here. Under data to copy, I just want to copy the status indicator, so I'll uncheck copy analysis and copy custom fields. And then when I'm all set, I can just hit copy forward. And when that's complete, ClearPoint will send me an email to let me know that it's all done. But to show you, if I click to my initiative summary view, currently we are in February of 16, and we can see all of the color statuses for my initiatives and milestones. If I move forward to March, then we're not going to see them because they're blank. But if I move forward to April, where I copied everything forward to, then we're going to see all those statuses have been copied forward for me. If I want to make some small changes, I can change some of these individually. But this is really helpful. It can be a really quick way to roll information forward depending on your needs. It's really pretty cool stuff. So with a brief shout out to February and April, we started talking a little bit about periods. So let's go ahead and dive into periods just a bit more. Now, if I head back over to my control panel, I can see at the very bottom, we see system settings. And system settings is something only admins have access to. It's like your own little private admin club inside the account. So I'll click to open it up. We see a couple different options here, but what we're looking for is reporting periods. So I'll click on that. And now I'm going to see all the periods that we have in my account. I can see the period names, their end date, as well as my ability to edit and delete periods. But speaking of deleting periods, please do not delete periods unless you know 100% for sure exactly what you're going to be doing. Well, really probably more like 120% for sure. Because remember that all of your data, your commentary, and your color statuses are tied to that period. So if you delete a period, you're also deleting all the data, commentary, and color statuses for that period too. So just keep that in mind, okay? So after that brief PSA, we'll get back to the scheduled programming. What you're also going to see here are the names of any reporting frequencies that the period belongs to. And we'll chat just a little bit more about that soon. Now, if you want to, if I were to click into a period to edit it, so let's say I move here to just a slightly different page and click into edit April of 16, you can see the options that are available to you, including the two most common that we see people using, which includes blocking the period, which means that across the entire account globally, no one would be able to make any changes to the information in April of 2016, as well as setting a period to be the default period that people are greeted by when they log into ClearPoint. So if I move to under reporting frequencies, then we can see the reporting frequencies that this period actually belongs to, as well as any custom name that's been given for that reporting frequency. So we can see here that April 6, 2016 belongs to our monthly reporting frequency. If I move along to auto period locking, here you can see how we can lock the period across the account or by scorecard. So with auto locking, we can tell ClearPoint to lock down that period at midnight on a specific date, and then your users know that they must get their information in by that time, and that it also preserves your historical data securely too, so no one can make changes to past data. Now let's say that I want updates in by May 19th. Then my plan is that I'll review all the information on Friday, May 20th, ahead of generating my briefing books and everything for the meeting on May 24th. Well, I can go in here to set for all scorecards, and I want everything in by the 19th. I'll hit copy, and this will bring it down to all the other scorecards below. But maybe for my some of my division scorecards are on slightly different time periods for reporting. So I can say, you know what, I need all of these by the 17th. And then for my Western division, I don't really need to lock down that at all. So this gives you a lot of control over when exactly your periods will be locked. And at midnight on these nights, that's when the period locks. So I'll go ahead and just cancel out of that. But when it comes to adding new periods, this is very easy to do. I can click on the plus sign and add a new period. And all I have to do is give that period a name, like January of 2017. So say I want to go ahead and add my periods for next year. And then under period date, I just need to put in the end date of that period, which would be the last day, January 31st in 2017. So I insert that in, hit save. And then if I just move forward another page here, I can see that that period's been added for me. To save time, I can also add multiple periods at once by choosing Add Multiple. So I'll do that here from this dropdown. And then the quickest way to get my periods in is actually to set them up in columns in Excel with my period labels on the left and the end date of the period on the right. So I can just highlight these to copy them. And then once I'm back in ClearPoint, I can just click in here and use my keyboard shortcuts to paste those periods in. I go ahead and click Save. And now you can see that all of my periods for the rest of 2017 have been added really quickly and easily. So once I have my periods added, I can actually toggle over to manage my reporting frequencies. And I can see all my reporting frequencies and even a quick preview of the periods that belong to each one. We've got a pretty solid list here with annual, fiscal years, monthly, and quarterly, sort of a greatest hits of our reporting frequencies. But let's say we want to add a reporting frequency for biannual measures or things that are reported out twice a year. Well, like with all of our things here in ClearPoint, when I add something, I'm going to just click on the plus sign, and I'll call this reporting frequency biannual. And we can also choose if we want this to be a default reporting frequency whenever new measures are added in ClearPoint. But I'm going to move over here to reporting periods. And under reporting periods, we choose which periods we want to be included and where we are going to choose, and we're going to also choose the final end date for the frequency using months as our base units. So for biannual, we'll use June, the halfway mark of the year, and then December, the last month of the year. Here's an important distinction between older versions of ClearPoint, the versions that must not be named, and our newest version of ClearPoint 10, and it's super important to know. So now, whenever you dictate which periods to include in your reporting frequency, you're going to actually select and check that period instead of choosing which periods to hide. So for my biannual reporting period, that means that I will go ahead and check to include June 15, December 15, June 16, and then December 16. So I can also change their labels here, so the names of the periods that display will be a little more clear to my users. So I'll say H1, 15 for the first half of the year 15. For December, I'll say H2 for the second half. And then I'll do the same down here, so H1, 16 for a different year, and then here H2, 16. I'll click Save, and then you can see that my new reporting frequency has been added and is in the system for my users to use as is necessary. And finally, if I want to set my fiscal years for the organization to be used in calculations for my measures, I can do that here very easily. It's in this dropdown to edit the fiscal years. And you can see where our fiscal years are named and their date ranges, and if I want to add one, it's really simple to click Add. So obviously, no boss or administrator can go it alone. So before I pass the reins to Catherine, let me show you a few quick things related to managing your users. So I'll go back over to System Settings, the Administrator Club here, and I'll click on Users and Groups. Here I'll see all my users, and on top I can see how many users I have and how many licenses I've purchased for my account, as well as my renewal date. Below, I can see all my users and their permission types too, and some have pictures while others, just have their initials pulling through. At the bottom, I can choose to hide anyone who is a no access user type, and I can also hide people who are only browsers, and that allows me to just focus in on my licensed users. So if I'm looking to add a user, then guess what? Exactly, I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign, and I'm going to type in their name, so Bruce Wayne, and he's going to be an editor. And then I just put in his email address for the organization. And then under scorecards, I choose which scorecards he's going to be an editor for. So he'll be Upward Airlines Corporate and the Eastern Division. I'll go ahead and click Save. And then here on the next page, we can see that he's been added. Simple as that. Now, something new in ClearPoint 10 for all the administrators out there, which is so awesome, you'll love because it's going to be a real time saver, is that now you can actually add multiple users at once. So from this dropdown, you would just click on Add Multiple. And then you can choose the permission type for the individual that you'd like to add. And then it's really easy to just copy-paste the first name, last name, and email address of those people you'd like to add from Excel. And then you click Save, and they've all been added for you. It's that simple. You can add multiple users at once. Oh, and one more thing. You can actually generate user access reports as well as user activity reports right from here. I just click to open this dropdown, and I can see my user access report and my user activity reports can be generated as well. Cool. All right, so we've got a lot of the basics covered here, and now it's time for some really quick, cooler, more fun stuff. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Catherine. So Catherine, let's go.
Thanks, Joseph. That's going to be really helpful for all of our admins out there. So I'm going to walk you through a portion of ClearPoint now that has changed significantly for the better in our new release. So let's go ahead and click on Admin Options, which is the final frontier here under System Settings. And this is a pretty important section of ClearPoint where administrators can configure and customize all kinds of account-wide options. And many of these options were buried under layers of tabs and subtabs in the Options menu in ClearPoint 8, so you can see it's gotten a pretty extensive makeover. And we've laid these choices out to be way more accessible and readable here. So we'll start with Organization and Security. In this window, you have some useful information pertaining to your account overall. Here on the Organization tab is your account name and currency type. Under Licensing, you have useful information such as expiration date, as well as your numbers of users and browsers. The Security tab shows you your password and security options. And then under Report Options and Completed Items, you have control over how your summary reports are displayed account-wide. So for example, on the Report Options tab, this includes showing the owner in line with elements on your summary reports. And on the Completed Items tab, this includes the ability to hide completed projects and tasks from your summary reports as well. Let's move on to Chart Options. And this is the first of many options on the Admin Options screen that helps you to configure newly added elements in ClearPoint. So in Chart Options, you can select the default chart type that will be displayed for newly added measures. And I can also standardize the layout of newly created elements by clicking on Default Layouts. So Default Layouts lets you define the detail page layout of new elements based on the layout of existing elements of that type. So if you don't define a default layout, ClearPoint will use the layout of the most recently edited element. But to select an element here as your default layout, simply begin typing its name, and you'll have your choices pop up, and you can select the correct measure from the drop-down menu. So now all newly created measures will have the same format as the revenue measure. And moving over to default series, you can also determine the measure series that will be included in the data table of new measures. So by default, as you can see, this is actual and target, which have a currency format, but you could easily delete one of these series, add a new measure series, or change any of the names and data types of the existing default series. So all of these options are a great way to standardize the elements added to ClearPoint with minimal effort, no matter who is entering them into the system. And I just mentioned data types, so I'll go back to that topic with custom number formats, which is where you can create a new number format if ClearPoint doesn't have exactly what you're looking for. So common options of this might be to include a percentage that has no decimal places, or to include a number that has more than 2 decimal places. And to add a custom number series, I'm going to go ahead and click on Add New Number Format. So I'll give it a name. We'll use the percentage no decimal example. And under currency symbol, this would be any symbol associated with the data type, whether it's currency or not. So I'm going to go ahead and put my percentage sign there. Decimal places can now range from 0 to 8, but I'm going to go with 0 for this example. And then I would choose where to put my symbol, where a negative sign would appear with my number, and how the separators will appear as well. So I'll go ahead and click Save. And this number format is now going to be available with any custom number formats in the system. And this gives you a lot of flexibility to enter the type of data that you need in every measure. Under Menu and Element Names, you have the ability to change how the names of ClearPoint's elements appear in your account. So say your organization actually refers to measures as KPIs. I'll go ahead and click into Measure. And I can change the way that this will be displayed in ClearPoint. Obviously, it would make sense to have it display as KPIs in the top navigation as well. So I would change this under Menu Label. And I can also choose to hide this from the top navigation. So if we collapse KPIs here, we can see in this teal box that risk is already hidden from the top navigation. And when I click Save, I'll see measures update to KPIs there as well. So this is just a great example of how ClearPoint works for your organization's reporting preferences and not the other way around. Under status indicators, this is where your status indicators are housed, as you might have guessed, in addition to their associated colors and scores. So if I click into one of these indicators, I'll see the status color that would appear in any heat map summary reports, as well as the score that would be used for automatic objective evaluations. You can also use a custom status indicator for any of the existing statuses here, or you can always add an additional status by using this green button. So moving on to custom styles, this is where you can create CSS for your pods and tables in ClearPoint. And this is another great way to tailor your reports to your organizational branding. So here we have our orange box style, which will add emphasis to a particular pod on a page with a bright color. And if we click in, we can see that a background color has been added to the header and to the border, as well as other CSS attributes. So in our support center, we've created detailed instructions on how to create a CSS style. But if you ever need assistance, we really do want you to reach out to us because we'd love to help you customize your account. Next, snapshots allow you to create a record of your account that's completely frozen in time from when your snapshot is created. So this is a great way to preserve historical information if you're going to be making a lot of changes to your ClearPoint account. And most licenses can create up to 3 snapshots, which is great. So let's move on to custom fields. And custom fields allow you to create a field to display any type of information you need in ClearPoint. So we've changed the organization of this custom fields window to be more intuitive in ClearPoint 10. So you can see over here on the left that fields are organized by element. And then within the element, they are split into default fields and custom fields. And you can see both your edit fields and update fields in one place rather than on separate tabs. So these default fields can't be deleted, but if you'd like to change the name, you can go ahead and do so. And then custom fields can be added, deleted, and customized in many ways. So let's go ahead and add a custom field. And since we're in our KPIs here, maybe we'll call it why we track this KPI. And I have a variety of options for my field type. I'm going to go ahead and select HTML text, which will allow me to enter text and then format it using our HTML editor. And I could also choose to put this field in update mode so that the values would be associated with particular reporting periods and would need to be updated with each new reporting period. If I don't select update mode, that's going to make my field an edit field, so the information will be consistent regardless of what period you're looking at. And lastly, I could opt to display this field just in particular scorecards, but all scorecards will be selected by default. So when I click Save, this field will be available to me to pull out onto any detail page or summary report along with my other fields in ClearPoint. And calculated fields have now been moved to admin options as well from the Add Edit Layout window. So these are the fields that allow you to display the values in a series or even a series calculation as a column in a summary report. If I wanted to add a calculated field, I would click this green button, give the field a name, so I'll be using my actual series. Under data type, I could select whether to use the data type from each individual measure or to standardize the data type in the custom calculated field. And under calculation, I'd want to insert the current period value for my actual series, which will pull in the value for each measure in my summary reports. And when I click Save, I can pull this out as a column on my measure summary reports along with the other measure fields in ClearPoint. So the last option we have here is field labels. And there are a variety of fields in ClearPoint that are not element specific, as you know, such as parent, child, or attachments. And field labels is where you would change the name of those fields and how they're displayed in ClearPoint. So if I click here to add a label, and then click on the edit icon, I can select whether this will be by language, which would change it across the entire account, or whether I'll just be adding some custom language to a particular scorecard. I'll go ahead and change it for all of the English language here in ClearPoint. I select the default name of the field from the dropdown and give it a new name. So since you can see here that our child fields have been relabeled division, I'm going to relabel this department, put in the plural, click close, and then when I click save, all my parent fields are now going to appear as department fields across my entire account. And there you have it. So we've covered a lot of ground here. As you can see, you have a bunch of options on admin options for customizing and standardizing ClearPoint, but it just goes to show the extensive capabilities that admins have in ClearPoint 10.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I think the way everything is laid out here under admin options is going to make utilizing many of these features just a whole lot easier and certainly a lot more welcoming. So we want to make sure you're aware of everything that we have here under admin options. Now, we've had a couple of questions come in, so with the remaining time, let's go ahead and dive in, get through as many as we can. So earlier when we were showing the scorecards up, we showed a little bit of how you're able to copy forward information in a scorecard, and someone asked how it works on an individual element. So what I'd like to do is just show you how that works on a measure, for example. So currently we're still in April 16, so I'm just going to move us back to February 16, where we actually have data loaded. And I will go ahead and go to that revenue measure that we're all pretty familiar with. And now on the revenue measure, we can see here, go back. We can see here we have a bunch of information that we have for our analysis and recommendations and everything. So here we can see all that analysis that we have in February 16. Now if I go forward to March 16, obviously, we don't have any of that information. But to pull it forward, if we want to enter our analysis for March, we can double-click into Edit here, and we can click on the Copy Forward arrow. ClearPoint will just confirm that we do, in fact, want to copy forward. And then I can pull that analysis automatically forward in here. And if nothing's changed, I can go ahead and click Save. But if there are a few differences, I can edit this text however I'd like. And then when I go ahead and click Save, it's going to save that analysis for me actually in the March time period, which is really great. And then also, if we're editing overall, you can see we can copy our recommendations forward as well. We can copy things forward right from here too. So that's a little bit how that works, and it's a really nice time saver for a lot of your users out there. Now, before we let you go, we often have people ask us, where can they find new information? And we always direct people to our support center. And our support center actually has a brand new look. And internally, Catherine and Andy have been working really hard on getting this up and going for us, really leading the effort. It's been a team effort, but they've really been leading it for us. So I want to have Catherine go ahead and just show you guys what the new support center looks like.
Yeah, so we're really excited to introduce this new look to you guys. We've made a bunch of updates to our support center to lay it out in a way that's intuitive and a way that's really going to help you out. So here at the top, you still have a search bar where you can search for any topic that you're looking for in ClearPoint. And then you have some great options below, as well as a variety of categories if you want to jump straight to what you're looking for. So for admins especially, since this is the ClearPoint Boss webinar, this new to ClearPoint section is going to be very helpful for when you're introducing a new user to ClearPoint. Here you have videos that range from logging in and navigating ClearPoint all the way to updating charts and creating summary reports. So it's a wide range of information to get you off the ground quickly. And then you can click into any of our topics to see the subcategories related to that topic. Clicking into a particular article, you'll see that you have numbered visuals to help you out and really get you through all the steps. So we're really excited.
Great. Yeah, we love the new support center. We think it's going to be really valuable for everybody. And the new look is fantastic, as you can obviously see. So with that, we've reached the end of our time together today, but we'll be back in a few weeks with a brand new webinar for you. So from Catherine and I, thanks so much for your time and for joining us. And we'll see you next time on the I Didn't Know ClearPoint Could Do That webinar. Happy reporting.